India's growth is approaching its weakest pace in 3 years, and the International Monetary Fund says growth is expanding at the slowest pace in a decade. And the State Bank of India have just posted their biggest drop for this month in Mumbai. Joining me on the line to talk about this further is Ashish Kyal, founder of Wave Strategy. Thanks for joining me, Ashish. Why do you think we are seeing slowing growth, and what are your long-term forecasts for India's growth?
In India, the major concern as of now is inflation. Inflation has been hovering somewhere around 10.8% even after the interest rate, the high interest rate, which remains well above the RBI's comfort zone of around 5%. So the step that RBI has taken is to curb the inflation and inflation control is the priority and not the acceleration of the growth. So that is one of the factors which is impacting the growth in India. And also, it's not just the Indian economy which is slowing down, but also the world economies are not growing as expected. So the overall demand from outside India is also slowing, which is again not good for the growth of the country. So the overall demand from outside and the reduction in the demand, domestic demand, are both actually impacting the growth of Indian economy. And as we also follow Elliott wave patterns in order to determine the overall trend of the market. From technical perspective, it looks that the Indian economy can continue to consolidate at least for more a year or 2 years from now. We can see a significant improvement in the GDP.
State Bank of India just posted their biggest drop for this month in Mumbai after the nation's largest lender said defaults climbed in the second quarter. What do you think this means for the economy?
The biggest drop in the State Bank of India is because of the increase in the NPAs, and at the same time, the slowing growth rate, the slow pickup in the loan growth as well is impacting the overall banking structure as a whole. So this is one of the reasons why the loans are not picking up as expected. The growth is not picking up, and the stock prices of the India's largest PSU banks have been moving down, which is not in lines with the expectations at all. So this is actually a concern because the slippage, and even after the SBI posted a net up of 30%, has not been in lines with the market expectations. So that is actually a very big concern for the banking sector, and we should be the government should be taking measures in order to increase the deposit rate, the way the velocity of money should be increasing within the economy, and the loan should be passed across to the people at a reduced interest rate. That is one of the key in order to increase the loan pickup.
The nation's budget deficit is the highest among emerging economies as slower growth hurts tax receipts and subsidies fan spending. But now India's government may consider borrowing an extra 250 billion rupees. Is this really necessary?
Borrowing 250 billion rupees in order to meet the deficit is something that it's still acceptable. But the only issue is the borrowed money should be channelized and utilized efficiently. That should fuel the economy, fuel the growth. And there should be spending that should be done on infrastructure projects, which should be accompanied along with reforms in financial and fiscal areas, so that the economy and the growth can be again back on the track. The other important aspect that should be taken care of is the disinvestment program. And as well as there should be a way in order to increase the tax collection, in order to make the industry, the economy to get more tax benefits should be reduced, and so that the government tax income can increase, which will indirectly help to reduce the budget deficit.
The Indian rupee has had its biggest monthly loss since May after the International Monetary Fund and the central bank forecast the slowest economic growth for the nation in almost a decade. What measures can the government take to strengthen the rupee in your opinion?
The measures that government can take in order to strengthen the rupee is to probably increase the forex reserves. By doing that, there will be more confidence by an outside investor in India, and that can result into a positive inflow of capital within India. the Indian manufacturers and businesses should start borrowing more overseas and probably repay the rupee loans. So that will again help to reduce the burden on the rupee. Also, one important factor is that depreciation that we see in the Indian rupee is not purely because of inherent weakness in rupee, but also because the overall strength that we see in US dollar. And as the demand for dollar increased lately, given the uncertainty in the economy worldwide. So this is one of the important aspects of depreciation in rupee, as well as the reforms have been started few months back, but it is necessary that these reforms should be sustained and in a more meaningful way that can improve the business cycle as well. From technical perspective, again, Elliott wave patterns is what we use in order to determine where rupee is headed, and we think that it can consolidate between 52 and 56 levels over a few months or probably a year before appreciating further. And but at the same time, if demand for US dollar increases worldwide, increasing uncertainty can result in further depreciation up towards 60 levels.
Thanks again for joining me, Ashish. Stay tuned to Dukascopy TV for more exclusive interviews and updates. For now, though, goodbye.